Welcome back, everybody. You're watching the Vintage Sewing Machine Garage here on YouTube, and today I'm going to make a video winding a bobbin on a Pfaff Model 30. I've never wound one on a Pfaff Model 30. Can't even say Pfaff Model 30 today. But I'm going to make the attempt. And some of this is based on my past experience with sewing machines, but not every machine has the same thread path. You really want to use the thread path that the manufacturer originally created for the machine, whether you're setting it up to sew or to wind a bobbin. So, how's your German, everyone? Because I don't speak it, and I did not bother to look for the English version of this manual. I'd be pretty shocked if one did not exist. And let's take a look. I'm going to prop this open for us, if the manual will do me the favor of being still. Okay. Well, of course it won't. All right, fine. We'll make it work. How's that? Okay. So let's look at the bobbin winder itself first. The bobbin winder is very recognizable. It looks like a bobbin wire you would see on, anywhere from, I don't know, late 1940s, early 50s. A lot of the companies had gone to this style. It is spring-loaded like many. In fact, it resembles everything from Singer bobbin winders of the time to the Japanese clone machines. So you press down, and when you do, you hear a click, and this extension of steel, or aluminum, maybe aluminum, actually sits there to hold your bobbin in place, and the bobbin winding tire is now pushing against the hand wheel, and that is how it's set up, of course. And we would need to also disengage the clutch. On the prior page, it shows how to loosen the clutch knob. It works the exact same way, and I'll show you how I'm doing it, but it's the same way on any of these machines that have a clutch knob and washer that helps you stop the needle bar moving when you're trying to wind a bobbin. Okay, so let's see what it has to say here. Some of my viewers, you may speak German, and you can, this may be no big deal to you. So let's zoom in a bit. Let's see what the diagram shows us. Okay, so I am not going to try to read this and embarrass myself. The only word that seems to potentially look familiar is spool, which I think this is the German way they spell spool, number 7, and they're pointing to the number 7. They're calling the bobbin a spool, but that's okay, because you know what? That's what a bobbin is. A bobbin is a spool of thread. It's just a little metal spool of thread, if you want to think about it that way. Okay, so this machine, this is an aluminum, sort of solid wall, class 15 bobbin. And so up here, some of the Pfaff models, you would have the spool, and it would be mounted in such a way that it would be rotating this way. I don't have that. I have you'll see it in a minute, you'll see the spool pin. It looks like any other spool pin, but I have one there. And then let's see what it says. There's number 1, so we're going to start with our spool of thread. We're going to come down, and we're going to hit, there is a thread guide that has 2 points to it, and you can see it right here. Number 2, it comes in here, and then it goes over to one right beside it. So there are 2 thread guide points in this mechanism down below. And then it's going to come back up, and as it comes up, it's going to connect. We're going to thread the bobbin, or the spool, as Pfaff like to call it. And number 4, I believe, is referring to where the bobbin or the spool is installed. And then, of course, number 5 is, of course, the tab that you push down. And we recognize these parts. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to follow that path and see where it leads us. We'll see how it works out. I really like to show you guys when I'm doing something for the first time, because many of my viewers, God love you, you are doing things for the first time. And you're like, how am I ever going to do this? I don't know. You know what? You try it. Okay? And if you don't get it right, the machine will tell you. The machine will not sew properly, or it won't wind a bobbin. It'll say, hey, you need to start over. So, okay, let's get ourselves some thread. We're going to use this sort of, I don't know what you call this, melon orange persimmon colored thread here. I need a haven't put my final new felt washers on there yet, but I'll use this one for the moment. That'll keep, you should always have felt washers on your spool pins because it prevents scuffing of the machine paint, but it also keeps your modern thread spools from flying off. Very often it will do that for you because they don't weigh hardly anything. They're usually made of plastic, or this one is actually made of styrofoam. Alrighty, let's see how this is going to work. We're going to come down and we're going to have this really nice, we'll tilt the camera and zoom in for you guys. They got pretty fancy on us here. Here's a little pigtail. Now, if what I just didn't make sense, I'll show it to you again. So I'm going to come down, okay, and I'm going to come back against the flat of that flat piece of steel. I'm just going to bring my thread up, and when I do, I don't hear anything, but I feel it. I feel a click, okay, and now it's in there. And then what are we going to? We're going to come over here, and we're going to come behind this little wheel, this little plastic wheel that turns. Okay, so now we're ready to come back up the machine. I have to do this because the machines are tall enough that if I want to get close for you all to see what I'm doing, I have to shift the angle here a bit. Okay, so I am going to get my bobbin threaded. Now from here, I don't really feel that I need the manual because the rest of it is, you know, it's not a new idea. This portion of the bobbin winder is very similar to others. So as I've shown you with some of the older bobbins before, so we're going to have an opening here. There's a slit. Sometimes it's a round hole, but it's a little slit, and then we're going to see another one on the other side, and we're going to need both. Okay, so I'm going to click that off, and so what we're going to do, one of the things we're going to do is we're going to shift our angle so you can see this from the other side, or a better view. Okay, so you've got your bobbin, okay, and we know you can see, get something to point with here. You can see the little pin there that's sticking out. You guys see that right there? That's going to lock into the hole of your bobbin. Those of you who know vintage machines, you know this already, and I know you know. So if you're interested in watching, just suffer through it. Hopefully we won't take us too long. Okay, so when we put this in here, you say, well, I need to line that up. Just turn the bobbin, hold the bobbin winder shaft still, and as you turn the bobbin, there we go. As soon as it locks in, you know that you're in that space. Now, the other thing we need to do is we need to get the bobbin threaded. Now, you can, and I've shown this in other videos, where you can hold the bobbin, get the thread through the other hole over here, and then put it onto the shaft. Well, let's try it this way. We're going to see if I can. Can I do it? We're about to find out. So I'm going to need to zoom in a little bit more so you can really see this. The slit is sitting here. There's light bouncing through it. That's why you can see it right there. It almost looks like a shiny piece of metal. You're seeing a reflection coming through that, but that's an opening there. All right, let's get our thread coming up, and make sure that your thread doesn't come out of those thread guides down below. Going to pull my bobbin off just a bit, see if it will help me get access. You see the hole in the bobbin is, I believe it's being blocked by the shaft that the bobbin is hanging on here. I'm gonna, while I'm here, I'm gonna get my scissors out and get myself a new clean end to my thread there. So let's come back up. We're going to try to put the thread in, and if your thread is not wanting to go, it's probably because it doesn't have enough room. So I'm going to pull the bobbin off. You can do this and put the thread through, and I just did, and I just got it pulled through. And if this is too ornery or fussy, you can just pull the bobbin off and do it. I've shown this in other videos. You just have the bobbin in your hand, you thread it through this hole, and then you can find, as I'm going to have to refine anyway, there we go. So now I've locked the bobbin in, and right now, this is kind of what we've got. You've got the thread coming up. Again, make sure that, because it can plop out of this. In fact, it wanted to wiggle out before, and that's just the nature of thread. It's squirrely at times. So, okay, so I'm going to do what I typically do, which is I'm going to prime the bobbin with thread. Now, if I try to do that like this, I can, but the bobbin may want to slide off, because remember, this pin is not really locking, it's just holding it in place, but it can come off sideways. So I'm going to go ahead and push down. And I don't have any fabric under my needle, so it's fine. And I'm going to turn my hand wheel. You can see me turning it there, and you guys can see what's happening. Basically, I'm priming. Now notice, my bobbin wanted to wiggle there. And basically, I'm just priming the bobbin, getting a few loops of thread around it, and then I'm going to cut off the thread tail. Now, those of you who know vintage machines, you already know this. And what do we need to do before we commence to winding? Well, you all know that very often, if your bobbin runs out, you may have fabric. You may have, of course, your machine is normally threaded down through to the needle, and the last thing we want to do is create a mess down there, because if you do not do the following, yes, you can wind a bobbin, but you're going to spend a lot of time untangling a mess, because your needle will keep moving up and down, and that's not what we want. So on the first page of that manual, it shows a person turning the knob. Of course, I know this, but for those of you who may be reading your manuals, even if you don't speak German, you should be able to tell what that's asking you to do. So I'm going to do that very thing. I'm going to hold the hand wheel still, and just turn just gently. I mean, literally just maybe 1/8 of an inch, a little more, and it's loose. You don't unscrew the knob. That's not the point, because if you do, you're just going to need to put it back. All right. So we're about to see if this machine is in fact going to wind a bobbin or not. Let's see what it feels like doing. And I'm going to see if I can get all of this in the picture for you so we can see all of it happening at once. All right, let's see what it has to say. Notice I'm not going at a very fast speed. I don't want it to be fast. Oh, that's feeding really beautifully. One of my viewers noticed in one of my other videos on the Singer 99 that having the thread below lined up in a certain position will really help this. Because ideally you want your bobbin to feed this way, where the thread almost is like a little windshield wiper going back and forth. And even though, I don't know if any of you noticed this, but the bobbin sort of moved to the left a bit, and when it did, it looks like it's about to come off the pin, but don't forget, this lever is all helping to keep it, in place. So I'm not worried about the bobbin flying off. That would not be helpful. Okay, back to the matter at hand. Now, as I've explained many times, and your manuals, no matter what machine you have, when it uses a bobbin winder like this, making sure that my spool doesn't go flying. What it should do, notice as the bobbin is filling up, I'm going to zoom into the bobbin itself so you can really see how much thread is on there. This lever should pop out before the bobbin overfills. It should, but you need to watch it just in case. We don't want the thread to be loaded past the edge of the rims of the bobbin, because otherwise it's not going to work well. Wow. It was getting close. I was beginning to think it was going to overfill, but it didn't. Let's take a nice close look and look at that. I'm really impressed with this bobbin winder, and I'm impressed that I don't need to repair it. I don't have to repair bobbin winders often. Sometimes they need adjustment, Sometimes they have threads and God knows what tangled in them, or they need new tires. But that's a happy experience right there, because it has given me a full bobbin. And I'll just take my bobbin off here, take my bobbin and go home. All right, so let's we will separate our spool from the bobbin, and in the next video I will demonstrate for all of you how to load this bobbin into its bobbin case, and then we'll get the bobbin case put into the machine, and that shouldn't take us very long because we've got to get the machine threaded. We still don't know if this machine is going to sew stitch. I have not tested it, and so I'm hoping it will because I sure have quite a few hours invested in lovingly bringing the machine back. Thank you all again for watching. If you have not subscribed, please do so. And if you have not donated, please consider doing so. You can click on Buy Me a Coffee, and it will take you to my Buy Me a Coffee page. You'll know it's my page, and you can donate at any level you wish. It really will support my efforts to save more machines, whether they be Pfaffs or Singers or Neckies or any other brand that you can think of. I've shared on this channel for the last 10 years. I appreciate all of you supporting me in these efforts, and I will see you in the next video installment.